Yeah, man! Serious times down in Johannesburg. Watch the fire now. Listen! The horns! Oh, yeah. The stage was set, the lights were low for the big G20 show. Leaders coming from across the sea to talk about the world economy. Johannesburg was dressed to impress, ready to clean up the global mess. But before the first gavel could sound, a different kind of noise started going around. Now everybody talking about Cyril's big blunder. He lied in the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. The Kenyans politicians step up to the mic, spewing out words that nobody like. They open their mouths and the fire jump out, insulting America, scream and shout. They're telling tall tales, they're telling the lies, right there under the African skies. And the media catch it, they run with the ball, they amplify the noise until the whole thing follow. Talking about Cyril's big blunder, he lied in the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. Yeah. Watch the house of cards, they're tumbling over. Yeah, blow it down, what a mess. I look at the president sitting up high, I see that little twinkle in his eye. He cracking that smile, that devious grin, while the diplomatic ice is getting very thin. You think the eagle gonna take that heat? Nah, sir, they won't take a seat. No Uncle Sam at your Josie party. You chase them away, you're acting too hearty. It's Cyril's big blunder, he lied in the match while we standing under. You think you're smart with that devious smile, but you're burning down the bridge for mile after mile. Oh, Cyril's big blunder, what a heavy price when you're playing politics and rolling the dice. The party is cancelled, the guests wouldn't come. Now we dancing alone to the beat of the drum. Yeah, yeah, they staying away America now come to Johannesburg today. You set the house on fire, man, what kind of plan? Cyril, wipe that smile off your face. It's a disgrace. No, sir. No, sir.
Marvin Divine. I'm saying bye to all the lies and all the times you cried, saying that I wasn't right, yet I was right by your side. You manipulator, playing games, your friends commentators, and I don't know what you say about our private conversations, but it's got them hating. Thanks to all the rumors you be claiming. It's cool, I'm done with you, so they can throw you a celebration. You gon' hate it when you see me with somebody living better. I'm trying to tell you that me just doing me gon' have you jealous.
Good afternoon, good evening, folks. Welcome back to the program. It's Chris live in Central Pennsylvania on this Wednesday, December 17th. Just a moment, check this out. This Wednesday, December 17th. Just a moment, check this out. This sounds pretty good. All right, let me take care of a little bit of housekeeping before we get to the news. This will be an abbreviated news session, just 1 hour. I mean, after all, I've only been broadcasting for about 12 hours in the past 24 hours. So I'm on with Ronaldo after this, assuming he's up for that today. I'm waiting to hear back from him now. Let me do the housekeeping. It is Advent time, so let's go ahead and do the Advent calendars. All right, today is the 17th, so let's see if I can't find the 17 on here. There's 17 right at the top. That came down pretty quickly. Let's open that up. And that is a little antique car. Okay, chocolate. Let's open the Kinder Chocolade. It doesn't sound right saying Kinder Chocolate. That doesn't sound right. Kinder Chocolade. 17th is what we're looking for. There's the 16th and 19th. Where are you hiding at, you little bugger? 18th. All around it, finally found a 17th hiding down here. Another egg. Little egg there, so it's a Kinder Surprise. And then we get to our last Advents calendar, and this is 18 there, 21, 19, 23. Where are you hiding at? 24, 22. Hard to see the 7. It's on the snow. So that was a 17 there. Okay, there you go. And that is an angel. Englishin. A little Englishin. So there we go. That takes care of that housekeeping. The mail just came. I picked up my refuse bin earlier, and then I just picked up the recycling bin. They come and make 2 trips. But I did receive a letter from the, it was already open, so that's interesting. Must have come loose, wasn't taped properly. This is from the Board of Elections. It's addressed to me, and so here we go. The York Board of Elections recently certified that you've been elected at the municipal election held November 4th for the office of Carroll Township Judge of Elections. 4-year. Winter certificate's enclosed. Please ensure you filed all proper campaign finance. Well, I didn't do any finance. So here is my certificate from the County of York. Once again, I've been reelected Judge of Elections. And by the way, I got more votes for this position than I did for the legislature. Just cleaned up on this. So there you go. Once again, elected to judge. So the judge is here. All right, so, yep, there you go. So there it is. So re-elected to office, an office that I didn't really want, but I didn't trust the elections after what happened in 2020. So when I saw no one running for it, I ran as an independent, unopposed, not unopposed, lots of people were write-in. I ran as a write-in candidate. I won that time with about 250 votes. This time I had the order of about 1,800, 2,000 votes. So, yeah. All right. So, folks, as we have a super chat coming in, PVNZA says, congratulations. Thank you for the 70 Rand. I do appreciate that. For the 700 people currently here, be sure to hit the like button. We've done the admin stuff. Now let me get to the news. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the South African government has responded. They have said that what they did was perfectly legal, was perfectly normal. It's a standard sort of operation that occurred yesterday. And what I say to that is poppycock. When have you ever seen Home Office, Border Management Authority agents in uniform on a national holiday, public holiday, working to remove illegals from the country? When has that ever happened? First off, the Kenyans are not illegal. They're not illegal, if it was, in fact, the Kenyans. Second, that never happens. This is a psyop now being put on people, and people are falling for it. But all the people who attacked me yesterday, when for 7 hours before it was reported on one outlet, 9 hours before it was reported on the other. The Hill reported 7 hours after I did. After I reported the story and broke the story yesterday, The Hill, which is a leftist-leaning organization here in the United States, they spoke to the State Department and got confirmation that, in fact, a raid had occurred while I was being demonized, vilified, and attacked by hate wankers, leftist scumbags, and the typical Morningside, Sunnyside prowler. Thank you for what you do for your people as well as ours. You're very welcome, Andre, the great 100 Rand Super Chat. Thank you for that. So, yeah, so while I was being attacked, where's the proof? Where's the video? He's just a liar. He's just a CIA plant. This guy is an ass, and all this other stuff. And guess what? Guess what? Of course, the story was correct, because I'm not just some dude who sits in front of a camera on YouTube. These idiots think they can just assail. Anyway, so yes, so let's get to it. This is poppycock. It's balderdash, utter nonsense of what happened yesterday. The intent of yesterday was manifest in so many ways. Bonnie Duplessis, thank you for the 40 Rand Super Chat. Clouds are gathering. If, in fact, the authorities had intended to arrest Kenyans who are working illegally in South Africa, which I'm not going to dispute, and I'll go back to that in a second. If that had been their intent and they were working with the U.S. government, then the simple thing would have been to contact the U.S. government and ask the U.S. government about it. The U.S. government would have complied. If they hadn't complied, it would have been a different story. But that's not what happened. They also lied. An official lied to Peter Dutoy, who breathlessly reported, without even questioning it, said the American officials were informed of this. I can tell you with 100% certainty that that is bullshit. That is total fabrication. American authorities are not aware that was happening. First off, I don't even need to talk to an American official to know that. But perhaps I have talked to officials, but I don't need to talk to any official to know 100% that's bullshit. There is no way American officials would have had refugees processing at that center yesterday had they known that they wanted to come arrest Kenyans. In fact, the Americans would have put them on a flight and flown them back to Kenya if that was a problem. Total fabrication. Jonathan Hall, thank you for 140 Rand. Total poppycock, balderdash, bullshit, total load of manure. This is not true. This is a lie. Ladies and gentlemen, the following is a lie. We did it, a standard operation. A standard operation. Please, somebody tell me what operations occurred yesterday in South Africa. Thank you, Christy Duploy, for the 14 rand. Tell me what operations occurred yesterday for the Home Affairs rounding up illegals working without a work permit in South Africa. Where? Was it in Alexandria? Was it in Khayelitsha? Was it in Guguletu? Was it in Cape Town? Was it in Nelson Mandela Bay? Was it in Polokwane? Sisheho? Somebody tell me where they were. I mean, if they happened, I'm happy to listen. I'm not going to refute it. But please tell me where these operations occurred. Of course they should have been on Gelofte Dag. That's not an American holiday. Gelofte Dag is not an American holiday. Reconciliation Day is not an American holiday. Exactly, Barbie. The excuses were planned ahead of time. And that's what I told you. I told you they were going to say it's some sort of rogue operation. Now, back to the Kenyans. In August, when the U.S. government tried to get visas, I think it was August, to bring Kenyans down to South Africa to do this processing, Ronnie Lamola got up and proudly said, and by the way, he's not the Home Affairs. Ronnie Lamola went on TV and said, well, we're denying the visas. Really? You're the foreign minister. What say do you have over visas? None. So Lamola said they're going to deny it. So the South African government's formal position was no work visas for the Kenyans, helping expedite these cases. All right. So when that happened, people said, what's going to happen? I said, well, the Kenyans can't work there. But what if they come here? I said, well, if they go there, the only thing they could possibly do is be a volunteer. But if they're a volunteer, that's even a little dodgy too, because then people told me anecdotally that the Kenyans were there. I said, well, that doesn't make sense. They're not allowed to work there. The only plausible reason they could be there is if they're volunteering their time. But they're volunteering their time, they still have to eat, they still have to have a place to stay, so someone has to donate to them. And you run into a very sticky wicket here. That's what I said. Go back and check it. Those of you who've been here all along know that's what I said. I said that. So if in fact Kenyans were doing compensated work in South Africa without a work permit, they were wrong. If they were holding a job there, they were wrong. They were wrong. I said so. I said so in August, and I say so now. Thank you, Sharky. That's right. I said so. But what happened is unconscionable. If in fact, ladies and gentlemen, if in fact that is what happened yesterday, then the South African government should have approached the Americans. Why was it on a public holiday? On Gelofte Dag. Thank you, Freedom's Doritz. Thank you, Johan van der Hieve, 40 Rand, and Freedom Doritz, 50 Rand. Voluntary work, humanitarian activity under allows foreigners to perform. Aha. So visa is suitable. Thank you for that, Freedom. I don't know that. Well, that's what I said. I said they could do voluntary work, but still that puts them in a very dicey position because, the compensation. But could just be that's not compensation. They're just being provided with that because they're volunteers. So I do a lot of volunteering and I don't take any compensation whatsoever just to avoid that, but because it's a legal question. So I believe you're correct about that. But the point here is that this was an illegal raid. Why was it illegal? It's a violation of the Vienna Conventions. They went to great effort to say, and they had their mouthpiece, Peter Dutoy, tell people that this wasn't on diplomatic property. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. If I'm in my motor vehicle with diplomatic status in South Africa, and I get pulled over and detained, that's an issue. That is an issue. If I am in my home living in South Africa as a diplomat, that's property. My personal property is sacrosanct. There are certain conditions where the government can do things, others it can't. If I am working at the American Embassy and we rent a dining hall for an event to do official business, they have no right to do something there, to interfere with diplomats. And that's what they did. They interfere with diplomats, an attempt to intimidate the American government, an attempt to embarrass the American government, an attempt to intimidate the refugees. A clear violation of the Vienna Conventions. This is a diplomatic incident of unprecedented shock. This is beyond the pale conduct from the South African government. This is because they're embarrassed because Trump said, you're not coming to the G20. I get that they're angry about that, but they precipitated that decision. They did that. It was the South African government that gaslighted the South African people, pretending that the expropriation law was signed in January when actually it was signed in December so that no one in the parliament could refute it at the Constitutional Court. It was the South African government that signed a piece of legislation, then denied that it was expropriation. We're not expropriating. There's no mass expropriation. The government's not taking property. Then why do you need a law? You have Section 25 of the Constitution, which allows you to expropriate in the public interest with just equitable compensation. Why do you need a law? because the ANC has stolen trillions of rand, and they're sitting on millions of hectares of land that they bought from willing sellers. That's why they need law. It's racial revenge. That's what it is. And it will be used against all South Africans, not just white South Africans. It will be used against brown and black South Africans when the time is right, when it suits the people in power. And it's unprecedented, the level of expropriation. That expropriation is the national level, at the provincial level, and local level. So assume for a moment that Andile Lungiza was elected the mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay, the man convicted of assaulting someone with a water jug. That man could become the mayor because the voters don't pick, it's the council. And if the ANC has the seats, they can pick that idiot to be the mayor. He becomes the mayor of Nelson Mandela Bay. Then he decides to take Ronaldo Khul's property in the public interest, take his home. What's to stop him? Not a damn thing. So I don't want to hear this nonsense from the South African government that, well, no one's expropriating anything. You didn't need the law. There's already a law. Bob Jean, thank you. Sir, your electronic audio mic is vastly different. Huh? I have no idea what you're talking about. My electronic audio and mic audio. What are you talking about? No idea what you're talking about. My electronic audio and mic audio. What are you talking about? What does that mean? No idea what you're talking about. My electronic audio and mic audio. What are you talking about? What does that mean? No idea what you're talking about. Oh, is that playing in the background? Oh my goodness. No, I just turned it on. Okay. Anyway, so this is total balderdash. This is an attempt to cover up what was a clear diplomatic incident. And make no mistake, this wasn't an accident. This wasn't, oh, let's go out and see what we're supposed to do today. This was intentional. Also, multiple eyewitnesses repeated racist comments made towards the refugee applicants. Also, Peter du Toit lied about the refugee program. He claimed it's for Afrikaners. It wasn't for Afrikaners. That's balderdash. They endangered the safety of people there. They rushed in the facility. They attempted to take photographs and undermine the operations of a diplomatic operation. What they did there was perfectly fine. What they did there was perfectly legal. And the balderdash, the poppycock, the bullshit about, well, it wasn't a diplomatic property is not germane. These were diplomats working on a diplomatic visa issued by the government of South Africa to enter the country with their intention and their purpose being fully disclosed to the government of South Africa. And they were operating as diplomats, doing a diplomatic mission. Impeding them, interfering with them is a violation of international law. That's the bottom line. It's not soft. I don't know what's going on with you guys in this being soft. It's turned up all the way. I keep hearing this all the time. You guys need to turn your volume up, okay? I've got this up as high as it'll go, okay? So, let me hear it sounds right here. Got this up as high as it'll go, okay? So, all right, so, yeah. Oh, the audio chime. Well, that's the problem. Let me fix that. I've turned it off. The electronic, that's what he means electronic. Let me find, the alert. So where's the Zoom alert? I don't even know if I can even do that. It's alerts. Let me turn it down. Okay. There's so many things in here. I've got to go back. All right. Sorry. Audio opening. Some of this just needs to be eliminated. Yeah, that needs to be eliminated. That's been there for years. Jeez, there's a lot of stuff that's in here. It needs to be deleted. No, I have no control over that. I'm looking here now. Let me see if I can change the volume of that, the alert. Sorry for that. It is loud on my end, too. That's why I put on mute, because it's distracting. Come on, where's it at? Alert box. Okay, so can I set the volume? No, it doesn't give me any way to set the volume here. Font size, color. No, it doesn't give me that. No, I have no way to change that. It just comes over the desktop audio. If I lower desktop audio, then people can't hear when we have people pop in. So it's fascinating to hear people say that that I'm low because other people complain that I'm very loud. That's funny. I'm looking again to see if there's a control over here for that. There's no control. No control. I can't change the volume on that. So I don't know why it's so loud. Anyway. I'll just turn it off, but don't let that stop you from donating super chats. All right, Utopi says the audio is fine. Okay. Take our hats off to Kenyans for their bravery and treating us with dignity and respect. Thank you, Sharky, for sharing. That sounds fine. Song just seemed louder than when you talk. Yeah, the chime's a bit louder. Well, I can't control. I just tried to. So sorry about that. Anyway, so this is total nonsense. So we're waiting for a response from the U.S. government. But yesterday when I was attacked endlessly by vile, repulsive people, You know, I'm a man of honor, a man of character, and I'm not going to sit here and take the bullshit from leftist hate wankers and liars. Oh, where are the videos? Well, of course, you can't take phones in there. There are no videos. People are not allowed to take their phones. I mean, stupid stuff. Well, it's not real. The press isn't reporting on it. When the press reported, I can't turn the volume up for people who can't hear it. They need to turn their volume up. For the press start reporting on it, then they complain, well, it's CNN. You can't trust anything. Also, The Hill report on. Now News 24 is reporting on. Yeah, anyway, so my goodness. It's beyond the pale stupid here. So let's get to the news. All right, first up, the Democratic Alliance owes us an answer because their minister is responsible for home affairs, and they violated diplomatic norms here. Another violation by South Africa's government. Yeah, I'm sure the site probably had closed-circuit television, but that isn't the property of the U.S. government. That's the property of the site, and who knows if it was confiscated by the government or not. The Kenyans were very helpful and friendly, and they have more manners than most government officials. I have to admit, it's shaking me to the core now. I know we are sure not safe in this country. Yep. I don't know about super chat. Oh, probably because I just turned off Charmaine. Turned it off and back on. Let me see what super chat you're talking about here. Give me a second here. Sasigi just did a super chat. Okay. Alert box is back on. Charmaine, let me see what your super chat was really quickly. So your super chat didn't show because there is no super chat from you. Charmaine, it didn't go through. Didn't go through. The last one was Jean Spence, and now Sasigi just did one. What's my prediction? I believe the United States will either try to play it down or they will bring targeted sanctions against South African officials. Yep. That's what I believe. And Nikki Gibbs just gave it, so there's another. Okay. Super chats are raising the volume and making it seem like you're softer. Yeah, I think so. But keep the super chats coming. Well, Charmaine, okay, hold on, stop. Did you just do a super chat or did you do it a few days ago? I mean, you need to be clear. How do you know it went off your bank if you just did it? Okay. Okay, now we're spending time on things. You know, you could send me an email and ask about that, and I can address your super chat. I have no super chat from you, Charmaine, if that's your real name, because that's your username here. No super chat. I'm going back to the 16th and still going. No. No, I see nothing. You don't have to talk to your bank. I didn't get anything here. There's another super chat from Francois Ferreira. Thank you for that. Yeah, if they don't sanction the ANC, they're just going to become more arrogant. I think that's the challenge they have before them right now. Anna Kruger, thank you for the super chat. I think sanctions should be against individuals, not South Africa. Of course, the DA hasn't said a word. What's John C. Neisen up to? Just can't see how the U.S. would let them work without the correct visas. Washington always crosses their T's and dots their I's. Well, just another girl. It's complicated, and I think that what the gentleman said earlier in the super chat is that you can work as a volunteer, and that this is a lie from the South African government. Maybe, but a book on your mic, because when you go into the mode, you lift the mic to your mouth. It's crystal clear. Well, that's okay. All right. So I lowered the microphone because people complained because it was too high. So now the microphone is right under my face. Is this better for those of you who have hearing impaired? All right. I see Fikile Mabulula is also on the bandwagon with this issue of the 7 Kenyans. I haven't seen anything from Fikile Mabulula. I've been busy. I went to bed at 5 o'clock and got up at 7. Yep. New fear-mongering. Okay. Yeah, I know about that, Vimpy. And people talking about flights not happening. Okay, the flight last night wasn't canceled. It's a commercial flight. The plane flew out of South Africa. You can check Flight Tracker and check on it. That's utter nonsense. There are no refugee flights as such. No such thing. There are commercial flights and there are refugees on them being paid by the U.S. government. Last night, those who were supposed to go there could not go to the airport because of security concerns, because the threat presented by the South African government endangering their lives last night. That's a fact. That's a fact, Jack. If you don't like that, then people need to get over it. That's a fact. Last night, South African authorities endangered the lives of law-abiding South African citizens who have a right under Section 21 of the Constitution to leave the country. They endanger their lives. Section 21, I believe it is. I'll double check to make sure I'm correct in that. I keep putting these things up because South Africans don't seem to know their own law. And so it's very easy to read the Constitution, and that's what I've done. So where the hell is it at here? Come on. There it is. Section 21. I'm correct. I am correct. So I'm going to wind up becoming a South African constitutional attorney before this is over, unlike the real constitutional attorneys in South Africa doing their ass from a hole in the ground. So here you go. This is Section 21. South African Constitution guarantees the right of freedom of movement to everyone within its borders, not just citizens, but everyone within its borders, and the right to leave the Republic These rights are enshrined in Section 21 of the Bill of Rights. And South African authorities violated those yesterday by intimidating. Also, we heard comments like, shame, all you little whiteys want to leave South Africa and run to Trump. Yeah, that is racist commentary intended to intimidate people. And that's the fact, Jack. That's the reality. Nothing prevent anyone working as a volunteer on a tourist visa. Hats off to Kern for being spot on. Thank you for that, Casper Labaskakny. Yep. But I did say it did put them in an awkward position. Yep. Because exactly what I said. It could create the pretext. I said something like that back in August. Could create I think it was August. The pretext for South Africa government to say, hey, we're going to kick these people out. I wouldn't have done it myself. That's what I said. There it is. VHS fall under visitors visa section, often called the volunteer charitable worker visa, cannot receive pay for a company that can get stipend. Aha! See, I didn't know about that. You can get a stipend. Okay, I didn't know about that. Well, that would be the equivalent. So that was the part I didn't know legally. Can you, because you've got to pay for a place to live, you've got to, or someone's got to provide it, and it would, in essence, be compensation. Thank you for that. I appreciate that. Good to know. Charmaine, 14, do you think was payback? Yes, it is. It's payback for that. It's also stupid beyond belief. Correct, Philip. And so the story from the government, I was trying to find that I had the image, but WhatsApp isn't playing properly. I couldn't find. I went to the Home Affairs. I can't find their news, their press releases, their website's garbage. It took a minute and a half to load the damn site. Couldn't find it on their Twitter account. So I don't know where they released that damn statement, but people have that statement. And in a statement, they put quotes, refugees. This is an insult. This is an insult to the international community. These people are legitimately refugees under international standards. And the fact that ass hurt, bum hurt, shitbird South African politicians and media personalities don't like that they're refugees is too bad. It's an insult. And every time they put it in quotes is factually incorrect. It's like putting a lowercase letter for apartheid. Apartheid is the name of a political system. It's a proper noun. In the English language, you put a capital letter with apartheid. I'm not promoting apartheid. That's just how English works. Same thing here. Quotes around refugees, that's bullshit. We did medicals. There was a lady in the waiting room. Also came in, took pictures of the waiting area. People sitting there twice while we were waiting. Are you talking about yesterday or another time? Kenyans are used as a smokescreen for those for the event. Yeah, it's right. It's their plausible denial, but it's bullshit. Why go into pissing contests the biggest dog in the house? Exactly. All they had to do is say, listen, these people are working here illegally. Americans would have said, well, no, not according to your laws. They can volunteer. They're not being paid. Their stipends being taken care of. They're helping us out. That's it. They get to visit South Africa and they get to help refugees, and that's what they've been doing for years. So they could have said that. And if the South African government said, no, that's bullshit, you got to get them out, the Americans could have said, fine, then we'll fly them back to Kenya. And it would have been solved. But no, on a public holiday, thugs in uniform spewing racial epithets at minorities in South Africa, verified, 100% confirmed that those people are legitimate refugees. Why? Not racial persecution, but political persecution. The South African government stepped on its own crank yesterday. They stepped on their own schlong. How did they do that? By confirming what Donald Trump has been saying for months, that minorities in South Africa are suffering from unjust persecution. Never mind the 145 race-based laws. Let's just talk about this. Sending the government. The purpose of a government, ladies and gentlemen, is to protect our collective responsibilities and needs. I don't have the ability to defend the borders of this country. I'm one person. But the government can marshal the resource to do that. I don't have the ability to police this society. I'm just one person. But the government can marshal resources that we give it to protect us. That's the role of government. The role of government is to protect and serve, not to intimidate and put fear. Those are National Socialist German Workers' Party tactics. Those are Nazi tactics. Those are Soviet Politburo tactics. Those are the actions of Stalin and of Hitler, not of Democrats. The 5 years is a standard boilerplate thing for South Africans. That's what happens. They automatically say that. And it's used as a weapon against Mozambicans, Swazi, Sutu, Botswana, anyone from those countries. People don't like them border crossing. It's frequently used by those puny little border agents to keep people out. I've seen it before. I've seen people in Botswana. When they cross over, they give the whole family's passports. They go stamp, stamp, stamp. They don't stamp one or two. People don't pay attention to it. They don't realize it because they're standing in line forever. They just want to get through. Then later on, they come back and they get a stamp and say, oh, you've been here for 2 years. I've been here for 2 years. I was here 2 years ago and we left. Well, Your child's passport says they never left. So ban 5 years. They do it all the time. Yep. Yes, they let them in. They let the Americans in too. They gave them a visa, a diplomatic visa. They entered under a country clearance, requesting access to South Africa to perform official diplomatic duties. They knew who they were. This is all bogus. The one only has to view comments made by them on your X account to see the racist. Oh yeah, they are wildly racist. 580 passports confiscated last week. Maybe. But there's 6 million illegals in South Africa. The cops' behavior is mockery and attitude exactly how the cops treat us when they report a crime or when they're extorting us, and it says Gen V. Charge new as ANC puppet seems as if the Home Affairs tried to cover this up horrific violation. Yeah, where is Leon Schreiber? He should be out in front of the cameras today. Question should be, why did they in the first application for the work permit deny them? Why did South say no to the Kenyans? Why do they? Oh, because they said that these aren't refugees. Ronald the Mullet said so. They're not refugees. It's a white supremacy campaign. It's a white supremacy campaign. Yeah, so Donald Trump is hell-bent on a white supremacy campaign. That's why he's bringing coloreds and Indians over here. I mean, right? Just want to give a shout-out to the moderators who are doing an exemplary job, says T. Tepkin. And 140 Rand from Riffs says, did you see BBC have run a copy and paste news? No, I haven't. I haven't seen it. Just more proof Southern intelligence is an oxymoron. How can the U.S. give jobs to South Africans? I mean, that's stupid beyond belief. What are you talking about? Give what job to South Africans? What are you talking about? Most of our embassies are most of the workers in every embassy around the world are local nationals. I'm not sure what your question is. I've had far more Ugandans and Botswana and Nigerians and Liberians working for me than I had Americans when I worked in those countries. Isn't this just similar to an ICE raid? Nope, not at all. Not at all, Jaya. Not at all. No, not at all. Not at all. See, ICE doesn't raid diplomatic facilities or diplomatic personnel. There is not a single ICE raid of ICE going into a meeting or an event hosted by the Mexican embassy or consulate or by the South African consulate in Los Angeles or embassy in New York or in Washington, D.C. Not a single instance of ICE going into those places to look for foreign nationals. If they have an event, they don't go there. That's you can't compare it. That's nonsense. If you're trying to compare the basic premise of it to this is just what ICE does, well, ICE doesn't violate diplomatic standards. They don't violate the Vienna Conventions. Yes, they round up illegals, but they're not illegal. They're not illegal. The government allowed them in the country on a tourist visa. And under the tourist visa stipulation, you can work as a volunteer and even receive a stipend, according to several people citing the code in South African law. So on that standpoint, they're wrong too. But even if they want to say this, they're legally. If they violate the terms of their visa, then they can be deported. But that doesn't mean there's no reason for a raid. You simply call them in. You interview them. You don't do a raid. You can't even compare that. Who is treating immigrants and asylum seekers? The U.S.? You think it's important how we're treating them? We don't treat immigrants poorly. Immigrants are welcome here. There's millions of immigrants in this country. Criminals, different story. People who violate our sovereignty and thumb their nose at our sovereignty that we've hard-earned, we defeat the British twice to win our sovereignty. Working people, will you go live when Oh, no, that's tonight. It's tonight. Isn't it tonight at 9 o'clock? I will go live after my radio program. I will cover, but he's going to be talking about his accomplishments. So we'll see. Hopefully we won't talk about Rob Reiner. That was pretty unsavory. So I will go live tonight. So I'm just another day of never-ending work. This morning, I went to bed at 5. I got up at 7. And then I prepped and I went after 8. I went to the Veterans Club and then we made sure the propane was delivered because we don't have natural gas. We have propane tanks. So the propane was being delivered. I left there. I went to the local high school, middle school to take presents. Took the presents for the kids who are less privileged, if families don't have money or resources. So I'll show you what that looks like, a couple pictures. So now this was not a solo effort on my part. There's a lovely lady who does this every year, and she puts these trees up everywhere. So let me try to show you this. Thank you for your membership. Appreciate that. So here's some of the donations. We carry them all in. You can see boxes of gifts and food for less fortunate families. So that's there. Here's some more down the hallway there. You see some more there, the other side. So that's what we did this morning. I finished with that. I went to the Veterans Organization to turn in a letter for someone who misbehaved, who flung a drink at one of our bartenders. So we banned him from a private club. That's a whole process. Had to go drop the letter off so it could be certified mail. Thank you, Joe, Texas. 500 Constitution is not worth the paper it's written on. What else could one expect from South Africa? Well, it's a fair point. Thank you for the $5. It's not worth the paper it's written on. They show that each and every day. So then I left there. I came back here. I edited and did it get published? Let me look and see. It should have been published now. The video with Byron Shepard. Yeah, there we go. Byron Shepard, that one's up. I haven't had a chance to share that. If my mods could go out and share that very quickly because people aren't looking at it right now. The Byron Shepard interview, he and I talked yesterday. It's getting very few views at the moment because I'm live and a lot of people I haven't had a chance to pass around in groups. So that's what really drives viewership. So yeah, what has been proven yesterday is the state. Oh, and so then I did that because Byron contacted me and said, "Are you going to post the video?" I'm like, "Dude, I haven't had 10 minutes myself. I'll get to it." So I edited it because we talked for a bit before and afterwards. That doesn't need to be in the video. So I edited, uploaded that. Then I went live with this after I researched the news. So yeah, it's and then when this is done, it's Ronaldo in 25 minutes. After Ronaldo, then I've got more work for the Veterans Organization. And then I've got my radio show from 7 to 9. I got to prep for that for a couple hours, get something to eat. And then it's 9 o'clock, Donald Trump. And after he's done, it's my night owls. So I will basically be working until 2 o'clock in the morning. And so there you go. What this proves is that the state, the refugees should fear. This negates the argument that if they feel unsafe, they should simply move the Cape. But whoever told you to do that? The Cape is unsafe. Yeah, the way they treat people all the time. Yeah, they're swooping people going through. No, that's you're wrong. You're perfectly wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. I'm sorry, Jaya. You're factually wrong. They cannot grab people outside the courthouse. Of course they can grab people outside the courthouse. People who've been denied asylum are grabbed outside the courthouse. Get your facts straight. Once you've been denied asylum, you are subject to immediate removal. Not voluntary, immediate. The government can remove you from the country the moment your asylum claim is denied. So there's nothing illegal about that. If it was illegal, it would have been stopped already. The 575 bogus lawsuits filed against the administration since January 20th is a record. They would have filed a lawsuit. That's not, you're wrong. I'm sorry, Jay. You need to check the law. You're wrong. Numerous case green card holder being rounded up. Well, green card holders can be rounded up. The fact that you have permanent residency doesn't mean you can't be questioned about your residency. What's your problem with that? The guy in Boston who killed all those people and blew people's legs apart and destroyed their lives, he had a green card. What's your point? The government is responsible to protect people. Green card is not, you're not a citizen. You don't get to, anyway, I'm not going to get in this with you. It's, you can go on about that all you want. You're wrong. It's just making our case stronger. Exactly. That's why I said, people, stop freaking out. Calm down. All this has done is, and Professor G, who's an attorney, an asylum attorney, which is similar, but not quite the same, says exactly what I've said. This confirms that you are suffering from persecution. And in this case, it's not necessarily racial, although the comments outside are an indication of it, but the action itself is political persecution. I just told you it's happening, and it's perfectly legal. You said it's illegal. So you're arguing a different point. What about report they seized biometric fingerprint scanner? I don't have confirmation of that. I don't think that's true. Could be, but I don't have confirmation of it. Again, I wasn't there. I'm relying on persons. I can tell you this. I'm in contact with many of the people who were there yesterday. Many of the people were there yesterday. And no, you hate wankers. I'm not going to give you the phone number so you can call them. Tell us who these people are. None of your damn business. Their lives are in jeopardy. They're fearing for their lives. And many of them are fearful. I received a comment. Let me see if I can find it here. Hang on. Let me see if I can find this. Okay, here you go. So I told someone that there was someone that I know that would like to talk to folks about whether they felt intimidated. A South African in a position of authority in South Africa who wanted to talk to these refugees. And this person said, let me get one of the male refugees rather to speak on our behalf. And then they got together as a group and said, okay, we decided as a group that we will speak to them only after we get out, just for our own safety. We only trust you. We only trust you. That trust has been earned. That trust has been earned. The STAR government doesn't issue your visa. What's this? Visa permission to enter country, so the government of the country you go to issues your visa. Huh? I don't know what you're saying there. No comment yet from Schreiber. I became disappointed with the DA. They are compromised. Yeah, well, the fact that the Home Affairs has not commented is very disturbing. Could this cause the applicants to have to do the process in a third country? Well, no, it just means the American government's going to have to send more Americans over there. That's what it means. That's what it means. The fact that they were demanding the register proves persecution, intimidation, plus following them to their vehicles, taking photographs. Exactly. That's political persecution. Yep. Erica's birthday's today. Is she here? Oh, yeah. Erica's birthday. I didn't know she's here. It's the 17th. Happy birthday, Erica. Yeah. So I got to correct something yesterday. I said that I knew someone personally was there. Someone I know personally sent me a message, and I didn't realize it was a forwarded message from someone that was there, that they know. So it was, 6 degrees of separation, but it was just 1 degree of separation. So I was mistaken yesterday. So let me find that. Hang on a second here. Getting dehydrated here very quickly. Videos to show. There we go. Found the folder. Come on, that's what I want. And happy birthday to Erica. I got to make sure she gets in there. She's been a OG, been with the channel for a long time. There you go. Do we know yet if they got any confidential? No, I don't believe they got confidential information, but I can't confirm that. Perfectly valid here is they're above the law and diabolical. Yep. The minister did comment, and his reply was so disappointing. So Leon Schreiber commented. Where did he comment? On television? He made the statement you read. That's not him commenting. He needs to speak to people. That's what I'm talking about. He needs to speak. Okay. Well, okay. Well, shoot. There we go. Let me see. Okay, that's not Leon Schreiber. That's some black lady.
Who want to go to the United States? They start.
That's not Leon Schreiber.
The problem is early deported this ago or last month that they were.
Okay, let's listen to this bullshit for a couple minutes. Erica, happy birthday. All right, so here we go. Let's jump in on this. Okay, let's see what they've got to say.
Ago or last month that there were 32 Kenyans who had applied to come to work in South Africa, and they were going to work with a organization. It's a Christian organization. Its headquarters is in the United States of America and also a branch in Nairobi. They were going to come here to help with processing of these Afrikaners who want to go to the United States of America.
No, they're not Afrikaners. They're refugee aspirants. Get your story straight there, sweetheart.
And therefore, when you look at what they were going to do, clearly it's not a scarce skills. And therefore, they were not allowed to come to South Africa.
Actually, they were allowed to come to South Africa. They were granted tourist visas, so she's wrong.
To do that kind of work. That doesn't mean that the processing of Afrikaners who want to go to the...
It's not Afrikaners, dipshit.
United States of America is not happening. It has been happening. We saw when they left earlier on. And therefore the question, this organization, when they realized that visas were not granted for these Kenyans to work here, and then these Kenyans applied pretending that they are coming to visit, they are coming for holidays. And therefore they came via Zimbabwe. From Zimbabwe, they went to Botswana. And
that I have no idea about. I have no information on that. Home Affairs would have to tell you that. I don't know how they got in the country. Why wouldn't they just fly directly from Nairobi? That's odd.
Then South Africa. So you can see that their process of traveling, clearly they were up to something. And when they arrived here, they were supposed to be tourists.
They were up to something, okay.
Tourists who are supposed to return back to their country with no working permit or visa. And then they
but they can be a volunteer there, sweetheart.
Started working with this organization at some offices in Sandton, in Kelvin. It is not any of the American offices, either the Consul General.
Well, had they been at the embassy, they wouldn't have been volunteers, dumbass. If they'd been working at a diplomatic site, they would not have been volunteers. We don't have volunteers show up at our embassy. The only volunteers that work in embassies are American employees. That's it. So they couldn't volunteer their time in the American embassy because clearly they would be working. So it doesn't matter that it wasn't an embassy site. Our homes are inviolable. Our vehicles are inviolable. Our persons are inviolable as diplomats.
Or the embassy, it was a private office, and they were working there. And therefore they were arrested, because they violated the immigration laws of South Africa. You can't.
They didn't violate the immigration laws of South Africa, and it was a public holiday. Who else was arrested yesterday for violating immigration laws? 6 million illegals in the country. Okay, Ronaldo, we'll go on for a bit more then. Okay, we'll see how it goes. Okay, thanks, Ronaldo. That's cool, because we got a good audience here. Appreciate it.
Into a country, you say you are visiting, all of a sudden we are working, and they were being paid by this
Okay, now I want to see proof of that. How do they know they're being paid? Do they have pay stubs? Do they have bank transfers? Do they have that? Do they have that? That is interesting. How do they make that claim?
Christian organization that is based in the United States of America, for the fact that they were
No, the company they work for is based in Nairobi, not in the United States. It's a subsidiary. We have American companies that have subsidiaries in South Africa.
being paid, it means they were employed. And then
if they were paid, they were employed. But what proof do you have that they were paid?
Sting, they were arrested and they were sent back.
A sting. Why do you need to execute a sting? The U.S. Embassy is present. We have employees. We have relations with you. Why did you simply not ask about them? Why did you simply not ask the Americans to remove them? Because this is all fucking bullshit.
No American official was arrested. Yes, there were 2 officials from the American office at that time. But after they did produce their passports to confirm that they are officials, they were not arrested.
Okay, first off, that's a lie. There were far more than 2 Americans at the facility. Far more than 2 Americans. She's lying. She's lying. That's factually untrue. 28 million illegals. I don't know how many are there. We suffer from, 100% true, Colonel. They said that they had intelligence that informed them of the Kenyans, but I can categorically state there's not one shred of intelligence in the department. Yeah.
The problem is earlier there was a standoff when they were refusing to produce passports to confirm that they are working for the American office in South Africa. But there were no American official who was arrested.
Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, dipshit. It's not about an arrest, you moron. It's about detaining a diplomat. You have violated international law. You are a rogue nation. You have violated international law by detaining a diplomat unnecessarily. You have raided an operation that you knew full well was a diplomatic operation. You knew that. If you had come across a motorist who was driving, a passenger in a car that didn't have diplomatic plates, and you asked for their passport and they refused it, then you would have a case. But you clearly went to an event which you knew was being run by the United States government, where you knew there would be American diplomats who have diplomatic immunity, and you detained them and demanded their passports, knowing full well that you were interfering with a diplomatic operation. This is a violation of international law. That's right, diplomatic immunity.
It is these 7 Kenyans who have since been deported. The 6 left.
Now that contradicts what the press release from Peter DeToy and what they said. They said they have to leave by Monday. They're not deported. They're departing on their own. So now she's telling us they're deported. Which is the story? The one hand doesn't even know what the other hand's doing. If she says now that initially what was said is different, then I'll believe her. But I don't think she's telling anything truth. Leon Schreiber's response. Thank you, Jarethra.
At about 12:05 today, towards lunchtime. And the last one, the 7th one, will be leaving at 5:05 today, traveling back to Nairobi, Kenya.
And see, that's also an illegal action. She's doxing these people to put their lives in risk at the airport. This is a criminal act under the Poppy Act of South Africa. You can't do that. She has just endangered lives without their permission. She said when they're flying. When they're flying. She just put herself in legal jeopardy there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's it. Okay, that's it. Yeah. Okay, you can't do that. You can disclose when people are getting on planes. You can't do that. That's private information. That's just utter nonsense. Utter nonsense, folks. All right. Yeah. FAO Friday is loading. Yep. Have to realize the mentality of presenters employed by this. Yes. Well, that's not an employer. That's a South African government official. At this point, I can't even think of a thought without cussing. Just listening to this fool is getting my blood boiling. 7 Kenyans went. Yes. Let me find that. Thank you for Jaretha. Did you send it to me? Oh, there it is. Just send it to me. Okay. His response. Okay. Okay, here we go. Oh, good. He did speak. Okay, so let's see what Leon Schreiber has to say. This was posted almost 40 minutes ago. So he did say it, but this is after I started broadcasting. This was said after I started broadcasting, so I didn't know about this.
Yesterday, the Department of Home Affairs, in collaboration with other arms of law enforcement, executed a routine lawful operation in Johannesburg targeted at
a routine operation on a public holiday. Balderdash. Lawful. No. Violation of international norms.
Suspected violations of South African immigration law. The operation followed after intelligence reports indicated that a number of Kenyan nationals had recently entered South Africa on tourist visas.
What is this? A Zama Zama operation? Are you going after Zama Zamas with this zeal? Seriously? Give me a freaking break.
And had illegally taken up work at a center processing the applications of so-called refugees to the United States. This was despite the fact that...
Okay, you know what? If they're going to sanction people, they can add him to the list. So-called refugees. What the hell are you talking about, Leon Schreiber? Dig your head out of your ass. They're refugees. Under international law. They meet the standards for refugees. Persecution. Political persecution. Racial persecution. So-called refugees. The U.S., when they hear this bullshit, they're going to be incensed. They are going to be incensed. Unbelievable. Yes, he's DA.
Earlier visa applications for Kenyan nationals to perform this work had been lawfully declined by the department. During the operation, 7 Kenyan nationals were discovered engaging in work despite only being in possession of tourist visas, in clear violation of their conditions of entry into the country. They were arrested and issued with deportation orders and will be prohibited from entering South Africa again for a 5-year period. The operation was carried out according to the same procedures that has seen Home Affairs dramatically intensify deportations over the past 18 months.
And how many of the deportations took place on Geloftedag, on Reconciliation Day?
As the South African government diligently works to turn around the long-standing abuse of our immigration and visa system. No U.S. officials were arrested in the process. The operation was not conducted at a diplomatic site.
Not germane. That's just a red herring. It isn't germane. And
no members of the public or prospective refugees were harassed.
Notice how he said refugees. Well, this minister in the government of national self-flagellation. Yes.
The operation reinforces Home Affairs' commitment to enforcing the rule of law without fear.
Yes, you're right about that. That's a good point. They can identify 7 Kenyans volunteering on their tourist visa, which is legal under South African law. They can identify that for a sting operation violating diplomatic immunity of the Americans, but they can't identify plane loads of Palestinians arriving at OR Tambo. The DA is dead. The nail in the coffin is this. This is the nail in the coffin. The DA was already on life support because of John Steenhuisen. Mr. I can't pay for my, takeaways.
Or favor, as no person or entity is above these laws. It also showcases the commitment that South Africa shares with the United States to combating illegal immigration and visa.
Don't try to wrap us up with this. No. People come to America and volunteer. People come to America and volunteer. We have missionaries who come here and prophesize in our country on 90 days. They can do that. That doesn't violate our law. Don't even try to wrap us up in this crap.
Abuse in all its forms. The presence of foreign officials apparently coordinating with undocumented workers naturally raises serious questions.
First off, excuse me, they're not undocumented workers. They're legal entrants into South Africa. You let them in the country. And no political party left that is for the people. They've all been infiltrated. Yep. Well, Dr. Groenewold doesn't run the Freedom Front Plus. It's Corny and Mulder now, but I get your sentiment. Thank you, Andre the Great, for the 50 Rand Super Chat.
About intent and diplomatic protocol. That is why the Department of International Relations and Cooperation has initiated formal diplomatic engagements with both the United States and Kenya.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Leon Schreiber, you're captured. That's just the statement. He read the statement that was published. He didn't tell me anything. That's just bullshit. He just read the statement. This is what they told me to read. That's just bullshit. On a holiday. Yeah, public holiday. Never happened. Never happens. Industry started working as thousands of illegals, but where is DA? Yeah, Home Affairs. 7 Kenyans scooped up that easily. Yeah, it's unbelievable. They planned this for a while. They also planned using the Kenyan individuals to move the focus away from the truth and then actually wanting to interfere with it. Exactly. You're right. You're right, Kokos. Yep. Yep. Why did they fail to give them the correct visas? Because they wanted to interfere with the process. They failed to give them the visas because the South African government is a liar. They lie about refugees. They claim these people aren't refugees. You heard it, the disdain in his voice. The degenerate alliance. Yeah, I think that's a good description at this point. Yep. Yeah, unbelievable. She said it was a sting. Exactly. Yeah, she called it a sting. The government representative, he said it was just a normal operation. Stings are targeted operations in which rely on intelligence. DA are obviously losing thousands of votes from those that left the country already. Why target a few from Kenya when the millions are here illegally south? Yep. What this has proven is that the same ANC government is available in 3 flavors. This bloke sounds completely compromised. Con de Bruin, Colonel Chris, please answer 2 questions. Were the Kenyans illegally in South Africa, and did they have diplomatic immunity? Is there documented proof that they were paid? Secondly, well, that's 4 questions in one. Secondly, what do you think of responsibility? Okay, number 1, they were not in South Africa illegally. They entered South Africa legally. They entered South Africa legally as tourists. According to several people here, I'm not an expert on law. You can be a volunteer under the law. There's a section on it. I saved it. Let me save that very quickly here. Under volunteer work equals humanitarian activity under VVS 11, paragraph 1, subparagraph B, section 2, allows foreigners to perform voluntary charitable work. This visa is suitable. Yeah, humanitarian activities fall under that. Yep. They cannot receive pay from a South African company, but they can get a stipend. So therefore, that's Balder-2. If in fact that citation is correct, I have no reason to doubt it. But whatever the case is, they did enter South Africa legally. So that's a lie that they entered illegally. They can claim that they're working illegally if they can prove they were being paid a salary. But I don't know of any evidence. They have no diplomatic immunity. They have no diplomatic immunity. The Americans have diplomatic immunity. The Americans were present, and they intimidated and threatened American nationals who were diplomats. Heidi Krieger, I wonder if the DA felt that nail in the coffin. I don't think so. The DA is dead. It's gone. It's gone. It's gone. And it's been gone since Steenhuisen took over. He's accomplished nothing with this party. He hails his great results in 2024. He got fewer votes than Musi Maimane did. In 2019, Musi Maimane got 111,000 more votes than John Steenhuisen did. And there were more voters available. Yep. Yes, Pumalelo Pawani, you are in deep crap over this. Yep. Let me get back to that. I say again, Kenyans do not need a visa to enter South Africa in 90 days. No, they don't. You get a 90-day visa. You get it at the airport. It gives you 90 days. They're right, they did. I know because they wrote the wrong date on mine one time. Shall I start naming South African spies, the legitimate spies' names? Well, Chris, how's it going, man? Trying to convince this horse crap. Yep. It's not the U.S. that is using the Kenyans. It is the UN hiring experienced refugee professionals. No. See, the reason why the U.S. is using RSC is because they have the experience. They have the systems in place. They've been doing this for years. These Kenyans are very experienced. They have the expertise. It's much more complicated to find someone else to do the job in South Africa. The Amerikaners have been hired on a limited basis to do limited things for the screening. But they're not the experts at having done this. They're doing the best they can. So that's why they wanted the Kenyans. We don't have Americans that do this. We don't. USCIS, the step that the Kenyans are doing is something Americans don't typically do because we hire people overseas to do what they're doing, the screening and the scheduling of flights, because they have local knowledge across the continent or across Asia. So that's what they normally do. The people who do the interviews, who approve and adjudicate whether you come, are Americans, and those Americans are present. The DANC, there you go. Any party that stays in the GNU will now, if the elections, lose serious face. Yep. They sting without intelligence because they're above the Constitution. DA betrayed us all, says Bill Lixom. What this has proven is the DA are up the next in the ANC. By the way, I had last night some nasty person write to me and says, I'm not watching your channel anymore. I don't respect you. Your head's so far up the Afrikaner's ass. I'm like, what? What are these people drinking, man? Heidi Krieger. I wonder if the DA felt that nail in the coffin. No. By NGOs, yeah. Not by the U.S. No, they don't work for the U.S. directly. They're not U.S. hires. If they were U.S. hires, they would have been, they wouldn't have been put in a situation like that. I'm sorry, ready to leave this government. It's a long, yeah, I got you. 777 likes with 1,500 people here. Let's get some more up there. Let's hit that like button, folks. Come on. I've got tendinitis here, or arthritis.
That was easy.
It's difficult to lift that up. That arm is killing me. DA finishes any sort of alternative. They're not an alternative. They're part and parcel of what's going on. Whether or not they're using Kenyans or not, the ANC would have found some way to undermine well, they've been undermining it from the very get-go. So when the consequences of this raid start coming in, is Ramaphosa going to be shocked and put together a commission of yeah, probably, who have been processed by RSC? What kind of question is that? Police station doesn't even work in a public holiday. Yeah, they watch soccer. The U.S. government is unlikely to screw up visas and give the ANC ammo. I find this whole thing off. I agree, Virtual Western Cape. Don't believe for one moment the U.S. will not follow the law to the letter. Matthew Cohen says, exactly, Chris. I've spoken about Steenhuisen's incompetence on my channel and mentioned how the DA lost voters under him. It's surprising how many people don't know this. Matthew, I don't know your channel. What's the name of your channel? You don't have to super chat again to tell us. 70 Rand, thank you for that. No, I've been reporting honestly about John Steenhuisen for a long time. I've tried to interview him on 14 occasions. Every time I've got a polite response from his PA, who said, yeah, we'll set it up. And then every time it doesn't happen. I've interviewed him once, and it was very rude and disrespectful to me at the multi-party charter. Very disrespectful. The guy's an ass. And there's much more to this story, which I'll reveal one day. But not today. Not today. I'm not here to change the trajectory of South African politics. Just to report. We're watching Christmas movies, and then I open the stream, and you look like Santa. So did he say they can work as long as they're not paid by South African companies? Sorry, I might have heard incorrectly. That's what the law apparently says, but I'm not an expert in that. Bobby Jan says, I had the pleasure today of being informed that my birth records are not available. I have to re-register my birth 43 years ago. Oh my God, that's crazy. That's crazy. It doesn't make any sense. Can't they take them American person? No, they can't. No, we can't take people to a country that haven't been vetted. See, that was a criticism. There's another super chat. Think of it. We cannot bring people who have not been vetted. That's not how refugee works. Start a TV product that legally streams Super Rugby for free. There you go. When has the DA ever done anything for minorities? Good question. Can't even give you birth certificates. Yeah, exactly. Chris, please tell me about the silver YouTube award behind you. Shelf must have missed it while I was in the hospital. How long have you been in the hospital, Kevin? That's been there for ages. I reached 100,000 subscribers on June 4th. That's what this is. 100,000 subscribers. So there you go. 100,000 subscribers on June 4th. The next one is 1 million. I don't think I ever get to 1 million. But I got that on June 4th. It arrived in July. It's been up there July, August, September, October, November. 6 months. Dude, you must have been in the hospital a long time. I hope you're okay. On the top, I was going to blow that thing up with a shotgun, but then for respect for my viewers, I decided not to do it. Yes, I know Helen Zill is running for the mayor of Joburg, and I've asked for an interview with her, and I've been fobbed off twice. Meanwhile, she's appeared on smaller channels in South Africa, so I see what's going on there. 16th, Max Dupree also said Afrikaner culture should stop to exist. Max Dupree is a self-loathing idiot. Bad language never adds value to any discussion. It's distasteful and spoils your entire program. Such a pity. What are you talking about, Glenn Schlester? Being disrespectful and rude to the host never adds to the program, too. What's your point? What will happen if the Kenyans cannot come to South Africa? Then they'll have to find someone else to do the work who's accredited. Do you feel better, Glenn? Do you feel better? Does that make you feel better? What is bad language? Boobies? The House just advanced GOP healthcare bill without Democrats. 213, 209. Yeah, that's interesting. Without the subsidies. That's good. Thank you for sharing that. Kenyans should not have worked whether they were volunteering or not. I'm a Kenyan. This has pissed me off to see my flag all over South News. Well, is it Helen Lola? I get where you're coming from. I said in August that I didn't think it was wise. My viewers confirmed that earlier. I said in August, I think it was August when this came up, and I said when they were denied a work visa, I said that's arrogant of the South African government, and it proves that they have no interest in helping people. But I also said it's unwise. I did say that. I'm not disagreeing with you, Helen. 100% with you on that one. Yeah. Arnold Erasmus. Hi, Chris. At the rate the ANC are poking the bear, how close? No, I don't think military is going to be a solution here. I think it's going to be targeted sanctions. Last night, DA counselors got pissed because, is that a dirty word? The Cape Flats is saying yes to Cape Independence. That's interesting. The UN runs refugee processing. U.S. funds part of it. That's not exactly accurate. No, we're running this on our own. This is in-country processing. We're not relying on the United Nations for this. And the United Nations does process refugees from other countries through South Africa, and the South African government gives them work permits. So that's also hypocrisy right there. I didn't mention that. That's hypocrisy. So, yep. Trying to make it look as though the minority refugees that were vetted through them was not done legally. This is just speculation. Not done legally. South African law doesn't apply. American law applies. Crocotopia, hey, there's an OG. Long time no see, festive, blessed season. Merry Christmas to you. Yes, the program's continuing, Corne. Corne Mizey Mizey. Corne Girl Girl. What's that mean? The program's continuing. In fact, let me check and see if I've got an update from someone that I'm waiting to hear from. Okay, I don't think I have. No, I was looking for something there. So anyway, all right. Program is continuing. Hens helpers, yep. If 50% of people here actually like you, that's why you can only half the viewers liking your stream, the rest. No, I don't think that's true, Quids. I don't think that's true. People just don't hit the like button and forget about it. Some people can't find it on their mobiles. What will it take for you to tell us Johnny Boy's secret story? I'm not going to change the trajectory of South African history because the story I have is explosive. The receipts that I have to prove what happened are explosive. I'll just leave it at that. Some people make stupid decisions. I'll just leave it at that. But that story will eventually come out, especially if I keep getting harassed. Yeah, it's their cover story. Most people don't care about it. How will the U.S. be able to ramp up efforts to regulate refugee aspirants? Wolf, that's not something worth discussing. Why would we sit here and offer suggestions on how to spy on the process and undermine it? That's not very productive. Not a good idea. YouTube plaque full of holes would be pretty dope, though. I know, Virtual Western Cape. How cool would that be? You know, I could get like those little stickers and put on there and make it look like I put holes in it. Well, the problem is I wanted to film it. Look, YouTube has been abusive towards me from the very beginning. They're a shameful organization, the way they do things. They are. And YouTube, I know you're listening. You shadow ban. I had a guy last night who claimed he was unsubscribed 4 times yesterday. That's what he claimed. I know my moderator, Hendo, was unsubscribed from the channel 4 times as a moderator in 2020 or 2021. It happens all the time. And then they don't tell people about live streams. Last night, how many people popped up and said, oh, I didn't even know the stream was live. I didn't get a notification. But in order to get a notification, they changed the way they do it. Now you have to have an app on your phone. You won't get it in your email. You won't get it on your PC. You have to have an app on your phone. You have to have permissions turned on to receive messages from that app. And you have to accept all notifications. You have to do all 3 of those things. But many people do that and they still don't get notified. So the idea was to take that out in the woods about 200 meters from my house, take a 12 gauge, film myself shooting it. But then I realized YouTube would give me a strike because that's violence. You can't trust them. Millions who live in this country, they worry about 7 Kenyans. Exactly, Leon Musk. That's exactly the problem. Exactly the problem. You see the one where people standing in Mayor Johannesburg in Mozambique, a citizen. Yes, there you go. Yeah, but we're busy getting the Kenyans out. Birth was never registered and became a South African by descent on my mother's side when it turned 16. Heidi Kruger, thank you for the €2.49, just because I love the truth. Thank you so much, Heidi. Appreciate that. And snippets, how are U.S. diplomats threatened? How? Well, good question, Snippet. How would you take it when dozens of people in uniform show up at a place that you're working when you have diplomatic community and barge in the door and storm the facility and demand your papers? That's not threatening? That's not intimidating? How would you be when they start taking photographs of your operations at a private location where they have no business being and they've not presented a warrant when you have diplomatic community? How are they threatened? It should be self-evident. I'm not sure. Obviously, you didn't watch my video from the lady that I did last night. I read what happened to her statement. So let me find that very quickly, and I'll play a short snippet of that. Where's that at? The harrowing. Here we go. Here you go. Let's do this. Obviously, you missed that snippets. Thank you for the super chat. Good evening, folks, and welcome back to the program. This is Chris in Central Pennsylvania. What an eventful day. Horrible events unfolding today in a number of different ways, not the least of which was the murder or assassination of DJ Warris in the Central Business District of Johannesburg, murdered at the age of 40, shot once and executed. That was how we started our day in many respects on this side of the Atlantic following events in South Africa. But then a strange thing happened. Apparently, uniformed South African personnel, apparently we believe from Border Management and Immigration in khaki uniforms, raided a South African site in Johannesburg where U.S. immigration officials were interviewing refugee applicants. And this raid took place at about 1:30 in the afternoon at a site in Johannesburg. No media outlet on the planet has broken the story as of yet. It's just being shared on social media. I've been attacked by racist and black supremacists and white leftist liberals, calling me all sorts of vile names on Twitter. So Star Citizen just said that they shared a photograph of a U.S. American worker that interviewed us with the program on X. Who shared that? The law enforcement? That is a criminal act. That is a criminal act. Yep. Twitter and other places for simply reporting the news. So let's get to this following narration of the events as they unfolded from a refugee applicant's or aspirant's perspective. This is a refugee aspirant from South Africa who was at the center today in Johannesburg where this occurred, and this is their statement of the events as they witnessed. So Helen Lole says she's an African. I think you said you're from Kenya. Jina langu ni Chris, mimi anaka Pennsylvania. Hey, otsi hili. Oh, that's the wrong language. I switched from Swahili to Setswana. Oh my gosh, I'm rusty. I greeted you and told you I wasn't where I live in Swahili, and I started speaking Setswana. Oh, I'm really tired, folks. I haven't been getting much sleep. Sorry about that, El. You're probably like, what? I got the Swahili, but what's that? That was Swana. Sorry about that. I am obviously very tired. I have sanitized the name and the hometown and size of this person's family so as not to give away their identity. And I read the following. I was one of the refugee applicants at Johannesburg venue today. We were a family of who were undergoing our pre-screening interviews, fingerprinting, and document scanning. In fact, I was 5 minutes into my interview when colleagues of the official conducting our online interview came in and shut the laptop, citing urgent issues which required them to leave immediately. We were told someone would contact us with details to reschedule. We were ushered back to the waiting area via the reception where individuals clothed in government uniform were filming everyone coming in and out of the waiting room with a cell phone. Multiple others arrived on the scene in multiple vehicles driving through the security check at the gate. A short while later, uniformed individuals walked into the waiting room, not paying us much attention, but obviously seeking the American immigration agents who had fled the building in a hurry. They noted the signs up on the doors and walls with directions for refugee applicants. They were greeted by a lady and a young man who were what seemed to be refugee applicants, who seemed to be familiar with them, and told them that the Americans had just left. This lady and 4 officials were in the allocated fingerprinting room for some time, where she seemed to be friendly and providing them with details. We were then ushered in to hand in our folders and lanyards, all the while being filmed without permission by a person in an unmarked vehicle. The officials mocked and intimidated the refugee applicants, saying things like, shame, so many whiteys who are trying to run away to America. The atmosphere was tense and very intimidating. Of course, having handed in all electronic devices when we reached the venue, none of us could record the incident, seek assistance or clarity until after we had left the premises. We were filmed all the way to our car, and our vehicle details were also recorded. We left to return home too, not knowing what happened and how this will affect us. In the underground area, on our way out to our car, we noted the refugees with their pack bags who were obviously scheduled to fly out this evening. We have no way of knowing if the register of applicants was taken from the security at the gate. We have no way of knowing if our family's safety has been further compromised and fear retaliation. Now, this is shocking. So that was a first-person testimony from someone who was at the venue yesterday. I read that earlier. The Star, yeah, you can request a DM and send me that image. That'd be great. Thanks. Dan Bailey is in here. Hey, Dan, how's it going? Beefcake. Trump designated fentanyl weapon of mass destruction. That's interesting. And Fonz, thank you for the $5 super chat. One of the refugees here in America gave a $5 super chat for a microphone. I don't need a new microphone. You guys need to turn up the volume on your set. And Magda Engelbrecht. I mean, I record videos here all the time, and they're perfectly fine. Can't wait to find a guy to get paid on the TikTok account. I've been paid from TikTok once. TikTok is a terrible place. What's an echo chamber? What are you talking? What echo chambers? Grootboot. What echo chambers? Are you listening to yourself? Kenyan's passport issued by the USA. How can a Kenyan have a passport issued by USA unless they're an American citizen? We don't issue passports to people unless they're American citizens. Baby Top G says Kenyans using visitors visa to conduct business. No, you have no evidence of that. You have no evidence that people can volunteer their time. It's under South African law. We've already read the section of the code for you. So thank you for that input. But you have no evidence of that. Do you have pay stubs? Have you seen money transfers to pay them for their time? Are they employed by a South African company? No, they're not. No, they're not. See, the DA is pushing the ANC narrative and going as far as flapping their gums regarding the so-called... Exactly. Leon Schreiber has just put himself in the crosshairs for sanctions. Yeah, that's what he just did. Seriously, I think it's impossible the colonel got more than 4 hours sleep. No, I got 2 hours sleep. Yep, and barely that 2 hours. Greenie, thank you for the 14 Rand. Okay, please confirm email address. Yeah, please put my email address up there. It's very strange. Mostly South Africans were intimidated. It's shocking. Well, it wasn't mostly South Africans. But that was the intent. I've subscribed as a paying member, pay the subscription, but YouTube wants me to join again. That's interesting. Just ignore it then, modified intel. I see your house. You're here. Just ignore it. Okay, why did they take pics of people's number plates? Exactly. If they're there for the Kenyans, why did they take photographs of people there? They were not Kenyans. Pretty obvious. Yep. So what does that mean for the flights? It doesn't change anything. They're commercial flights. They fly every day. What does it mean for refugees leaving? Well, it meant last night the safety and security of refugees who were scheduled to fly out last night, and it was a number of people last night. I can confirm that. Without telling the exact number, I'll wait till they're safely in America. I can tell you what the number is then. They were removed to a safe location and had diplomatic security protecting them last night. So, yeah, I don't know what goes. They're get them out on a flight as soon as they can, possibly today. Yep. Imagine how a few U.S. CIS officers are quite upset with the actions of Home Affairs. Oh, yeah, no. Look, remember, the people that are there, they don't work in South Africa. They're just there on temporary duty. They were sent over for 90 days to work on diplomatic visas, to work in South Africa with the full disclosure to the South African government that that's what they're doing, processing refugees. They're doing diplomatic work for the U.S. Embassy. They knew that. They also know, by the way, people are like, yesterday running around attacking Lili van der Plas and attacking the lady that was in the fingerprint room. Those people didn't disclose anything. Leave them alone. And leave me alone. I didn't disclose anything either. The people who keep saying where refugee locations are in chats and in groups, and I tell people to remove that, and we give people timeouts or we take this stuff off. The reason I'm doing it is not to prevent the government of South Africa from knowing that. Why would anyone want to do that? The government of South Africa has a right to know what's going on in this country. They have a right to know that we're doing this there. And they did know. The government of South Africa knew where this place was. They know where all of them are. They do. No one is trying to hide a location from the government of South Africa. We're trying to hide a location from malevolent actors like EFF and other turds who endanger people's lives. That's what we're trying to protect, because those trolls watch these streams and they have no compunction about harming people. That's what we're trying to protect people from. But people attacking Lili and then the lady that was in the with her son in the fingerprint room, stop it. They had nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with this. Nor did I. The South African government knew where this was. This was, as she said correctly, she told them this was a sting. We had intelligence. We followed this. We prepared for this. The whole thing was done on purpose on reconciliation, because there's no attempt at reconciliation. It's just window dressing. It's varnish. It's bullshit. Yeah, Joe, you can email. Oh, you can't email with sleep now. And urgent videos and sound news regarding the refugees. Okay, well, that doesn't help me, Golda Kruger. Where on SABC? On YouTube? I don't get SABC. I can't watch it from here. Even with the VPN, I can't get it. All right, so SABC. SABC. Let's see. FIFA World Cup draw is live right now. McPherson updates preliminary report. Schlunga Commission. It must be on television. Yeah, I don't know. So I can't get to it unless it's online. There are a lot of trolls in here right now. It's true. You might need to change your time zone. Yeah. Somebody said, I'm a Kenyan. Yes, I know. You said that earlier. You said you're a Kenyan. You were upset that this is putting your country in the news. No, I got you. Oh, you're answering someone. No response or comments from U.S. officials on this yet. No, not yet. Oh, no, that's not true. I'm sorry, that's not true. Last night we had comments from Tommy Pigott, the Deputy Secretary for Public Relations, something like that, from the U.S. State Department. And they said that they're aware of it, they're looking into it. Yep. Okay, now I'm not getting my damn stream. I hate this freaking YouTube, man. Anyway, there has been a response, and I published it last night. Michael Rossi says, much respect. Thank you for that. Share the screenshot. Thank you, Star Citizen. Let me get to that. So you sent me a WhatsApp. Okay. Wow. Okay, this passport being shared is not even a South African. It's a Burkinabe. A Burkinabe. Oh, he's an American. Oh my gosh, their shit is going to fly now. Shit is going to fly now. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. They just violated the Poppy Act. They just violated. Oh shit. Is that hurt Glenn's feelings? Whatever the guy is? I'm sorry. That's an American citizen. They just doxed an American citizen's personal details, date of birth, location on the internet. This is a consequence of South African officials. This is going to be a crap storm now. Oh, you thought it was bad before? It is going to be bad now. It is going to be bad now. Wow. Unbelievable, ladies and gentlemen. Unbelievable. That guy's an American citizen. They are screwed. They are screwed. Oh my gosh. The stupid Home Affairs officials. This is beyond. I'm not going to show it. I have to cover. I have to take me a minute to cover. I'm not going to just dox the guy. I'm just sitting here criticizing them for doxing. And you want me to dox him? Come on, use your brain here. So I'm going to save this. And then you're going to give me a minute here. Wow. Unbelievable. 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 Hang on. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I've got to send this to somebody. Wow. 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 Oh my goodness. That is beyond the pale, folks. That is, all right. So I'm going to try to do it real quick so I can hide some things. I'm going to show you. This is insane. And we're going to reveal the person who committed the Poppy Act violation. Yep. So give me a second. Thank you for that. I can't believe they did that. I cannot believe. Well, I can believe. That's how stupid they are. That's how stupid they are. This person is an American citizen, and they're too stupid to realize that's an American passport. Oh my goodness. Oh my, the crap is going to hit the fan. Man, it's going to be ugly. It's going to be ugly. Okay, I need to mess this around a little bit so that, give me a second here because I don't need all of that, so I can reduce that. Okay, and I can reduce this here, but we'll keep the guy's name, the Comrade Dipshit. Was that bad language down there? So sorry about that. This is an adult program. Your children shouldn't be watching it. It's marked as such, not open to children. Okay, so, all right. So white people in South Africa want to do as they please. These U.S. reps had no work permits. Wow. So I got to zoom in because it's too small. So hang on a second here. I need to do this. Actually, where's the pen at? Okay, this one here. I'll do this here. Come on. Okay, so. Okay. Takes a second to get all this. I've got to cover also the barcoding stuff here because you can't see that. All the identifiable stuff here. So I know how these passports work. Whoops. So most of this is going to be covered up though, folks. Sorry, but that's just the way it is. I cannot reveal these things. I'm not going to dox an American citizen. Okay, hang on. Wow. I need one more here. This is unbelievable. Okay, now let me zoom. I got to zoom in so I can make sure I got everything here. View, zoom, 200, 400%. Okay. Okay, USA, date of birth. Okay, I got to fix that. Hang on a second. Got it. Okay. Wow. This is insane. I cannot believe these people are that stupid. They are. They're incredibly stupid. It's unbelievable. Okay, I think I got most of it here. Okay. All right, so let me zoom back out. Zoom, 100%. Okay. All right, so this can go away now. All right, now I just need to cover up the guy's face. Okay. Hang on. Takes a moment to do this, folks. So this is why we protect people's identity. Almost there. Oh, I need to do one more here. And cover up his signature. He doesn't need to have his signature exposed too. Okay. All right. So, hang on a second. I gotta group this. See, it takes a moment here, folks. All right. So I think I got everything here. Cool. Okay. File, save as, JPEG. That's not what I want. God bless it. Wow. All right. Are we still there? A lot of chat coming in while I was stepping away. Did we lose people? Okay. I suppose that those are sorry to say this, but the ANC never really. Okay, you guys have really got stuff coming left and right. Okay, so let me find that image now. That's going to be in my pictures. It's going to be at the bottom because the way I titled it. So, okay, but maybe these are okay. They're done. Okay, let me just bring it up on the screen. I'll show you. So this idiot here doxed an American citizen. This is not a foreign national. This is an American citizen. This is an official passport probably, and it says so. White people in South Africa want to do as they please. These U.S. reps had no work permits. Yeah, well, it says right there the bearer is abroad on an official assignment for the United States government. This is an American citizen. That is an American citizen. I've covered up all identifying data. That is a U.S. passport. A U.S. passport. United States of America passport. United States of America passport. This is more serious than we realized. Unbelievable. Wow. Unbelievable, folks. It's shocking. This is shocking. This is shocking. The level of stupidity here is beyond comprehension, folks. I don't understand how stupid people can be. I really do not understand how stupid people can be, but this is beyond the pale. They talk about diplomatic norms and violating diplomatic norms. You do not do that. That passport could only have gotten into the hands of this Twitter account is if someone from Home Affairs gave them that passport. Yep. Wow. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So hang on a second here. This is shocking. Guys, I mean, I don't know what to tell you here. All right, I really hate to break this story. I didn't get to the news stories. I have a whole list of news stories I'm going to cover today, but I have to go to Ronaldo. He is kind enough to let me go an extra half hour, which we got to that. Jürgen Kotze, thank you for becoming a member. Yeah. Pretoria shocking raid. Yeah, please make sure the right people see this. Oh, freedom, I will. I will. I will. This is insane. This is absolutely insane. They done screwed up. Yep. All right. Please join us over at Ronaldo. We got 1,580 people here. Also, I'll be back later tonight for President Trump's live address, which will be at 4 o'clock in the morning for South Africans. But at 5 o'clock in the morning, I'll be back on with my night owls. Okay. Yeah, that's unbelievable. Unbelievable. All right, guys. Thanks. God bless. Thanks for being here. I'll see you on Ronaldo, hopefully. Cheers.